Good afternoon, this is Peter Towers. Welcome to this introduction webinar on ESS BIZTOOLS. I hope wherever you are around Australia that you've had a good Easter break and that you're now getting right back into the very important task of supplying additional services to your small, medium enterprise clients. What we're going to do today is to work through an overview of the material that's contained within ESS BIZTOOLS, obviously to give you a far better idea of the type of material that's included, so that you're in a position of being able to give advice to your clients. So ESS BIZTOOLS includes products and tools, particularly in the business advisory services area, both the tools to assist you in your firm to get ready to deliver business advisory services, and then 15 pre-prepared products that you could start using to start earning fees from. We produce a newsletter each month, which we call Business Plus Newsletter. It's uploaded to our website on the second Friday of a month at 12 noon Queensland time. So we're just finalising the editorials and articles within that newsletter today, and to have it ready to be uploaded to the website on this Friday. We send an email to our subscribers and tell them that the newsletter is available, and then they're able to change the banners, the title on it, to their own and send it to their clients and targets. Client mentoring and coaching assists a firm to educate clients on the type of services that they are offering, especially if they are services outside of the traditional taxation market. Leadership is some modules that have been written by Peter McDougall, a former colonel in the Australian Army, on leadership. Leadership Academy has traditionally targeted the big end of town, government and major businesses, but we convinced them to produce a small business version, which is part of ESS BIZTOOLS. Client seminars and webinars have been prepared to assist accountants to market these new services. I still believe that seminars are the best marketing tool available to accountants, and we have 34 pre-prepared, ready-to-use seminars or webinars within the system. Within ESS papers, there are 530 papers that are targeted at small, medium enterprises that you can badge and send to your clients. You can actually charge for those papers if you wish. And there are 60 papers targeted at accountants. We don't suggest you send them to your clients, but these are articles on contemporary thinking in the current era as to the types of services that accountants should be providing. ESS BizGrants is our sister product. It's available on a separate website, and it is available as part of the Gold subscription package to ESS BIZTOOLS. We're going to have a look at the ESS BIZTOOLS website. This will be a short overview of the website a little bit later on, and then we'll talk about what your investment would be to become a subscriber to this product. There's a chart on the screen now to give you an overview of what's included within ESS BIZTOOLS. So as I indicated before, we had the business advisory services, which comprises two segments. One, the material to assist you to get ready to deliver business advisory services. It's very important that you lay the foundations for what I hope for most firms in Australia will become a rather large fee-earning section within your firms over the next 2 to 3 years. The second part, of course, is the material that we've produced for you to use to earn fees. And we are adding 4, maybe 5 new products into that segment on an annual basis. We produce a newsletter each month, which I talked to you about before. Client mentoring and coaching is the material to help you educate clients on the type of services that a modern chief financial officer type accountancy business can provide in 2015. Leadership modules are the articles written by Leadership Academy. Biz grants I just talked about that will assist you to identify grants based on the profile that you would enter. Will take 3 minutes for your clients. Papers covers the papers targeted at SMEs and the papers for accountants. The seminars, there's hundreds of tools and forms within the system, and there's numerous video recordings. So that's the overview of what's included in the system. Please, if you have any questions during this webinar today, could you type your question in, and in webinar terminology, raise your hand, and I will answer your questions later in the webinar. We are taping this webinar, so you will be able to get a YouTube access to it in a couple of days' time, which hopefully will assist you to review what we are discussing today, and also to have discussions with some of your colleagues who might not have been able to make this time today. An important question: how are you and your firm planning to meet the challenges of 2015? And I'm sure your participation in this webinar today is an indication that you acknowledge that there are challenges facing the accountancy profession in 2015. We have the Digital Disruption Report that Deloitte first produced a couple of years ago, and there's been a number of articles written about it since, and a number of the other Big Four firms have come out with similar type comments, primarily PricewaterhouseCoopers. But one of the most staggering comments of all was made in an article in Business Review Weekly last year, quoting Guy Swigers, who was then the CEO of Deloitte in Australia: "The accountancy profession will get worse and worse." What else are the issues? Well, debtors' days outstanding are still an unacceptable 51.6 days. Admittedly, they've reduced a little bit from 54 days, but there's a great opportunity for you to be offering debtors management, cash flow management advice to your clients. The Personal Property Securities Register, I believe, is one of the most serious problems confronting small business in Australia at present. How this legislation was ever passed by the Parliament without the Parliament acknowledging there was going to be a need for a massive education program along the lines of the Howard government era GST introduction program, I don't know. There's already been in excess of $40 million lost by businesses in Australia through this legislation. This is a real problem, and it's an area that I would be suggesting that you have a good look at. Cost control. The CCH survey of small business conducted 18 months ago interviewed 1,200 small business operators around Australia, and they identified that the biggest issue that they had in their businesses was cost control. How long since you sat down and talked to a client about cost control within their business? CCH have indicated this is what people are concerned about. So let's have a quick look at what Deloitte had to say in their report, Digital Disruption, Short Fuse, Big Bang. They said that 32% of the Australian economy was going to be caught up in the short-term phase, which we're in the middle of now. And they identified 6 major industries that were going to be caught up, one of which was professional services, which obviously includes accounting. And that report was saying that there was going to be an approximate 32% change occur in professional services, in accountancy services, if you want to narrow it down to accounting, over the next few years. And one of the recommendations that they made in their reports was, what do you do about it? and they suggested recalibrating cost structures, so trying to reduce costs, replenishing revenue streams, and reshaping corporate strategies. Now, out of those three suggestions that Deloitte have made, we believe that the most appropriate is replenishing revenue streams. We suggest to you today that adopting a policy of delivering business advisory services or chief financial officer services to your small, medium enterprise clients is a legitimate way to achieve two things. One, to replenish your revenue streams, and secondly, to deliver what the small business market has been asking for years in survey after survey, and that is they want to receive more services from accountants on how to add value to their businesses and better run their businesses. So let's look at some of the things that were said by the Deloitte CEO in October 2013. Accountants are doomed unless they respond to the threats of digital disruption. Volatility coupled with digital change will continue to challenge firms. It will get worse and worse and worse, and then when you think it can't get worse, it will continue to get worse. Very sobering comments. Are these changes affecting your firm at this stage? If not, they are predicted that they will definitely affect your firm in the future. You see the terms digital disruption in newspapers more and more. The Australian had an article yesterday attributed to one of the major corporations saying that they were being affected by digital disruption. At the Australian Technology Showcase conference held in Melbourne on the 21st of October, Jason Bender, a partner in Deloitte, was the keynote speaker in the first session that morning, and he made some very interesting comments. There is a need for accountancy businesses to develop strategies on how to respond to changing market conditions. If accountants are not really careful, the profession could really suffer, Jason Bender said. And then he finished with a very sobering comment. Don't let this happen on our watch. At the same conference, and in fact the speaker who followed the Deloitte speaker, Jeff Leeper, the second commissioner from the Australian Taxation Office, talked about the ATO's red tape reduction strategy. He claimed this will reduce the costs for small, medium enterprises from the SBR strategy by $500 million a year. A lot of this will come from professional fees. In fact, later on he said it will basically all come from professional fees. He then made the comment, this is the digital disruption for accountants. He then went on to say there's a market there for accountants to offer cash flow management advice. He said that because 60% of the debt owing to the ATO is from small business. I'd suggest that you really think about the comments that these two speakers have made, because they're really zeroing down into some very important problems affecting not only the small business operators but also the accountancy profession in Australia. Let's look at debtors days outstanding, currently 51.6 days according to Dun & Bradstreet. Within the ESS BIZTOOLS system, we have a debtors system, a calculator to calculate debtors days outstanding, some suggested debt recovery systems, both in the traditional format or in a computerized format, and debtors reduction checklists. It's an ideal area for you to start working on. The Personal Property Securities Register, there is still tremendous misunderstanding as to what this legislation is all about. In fact, those subscribers to ESS BIZTOOLS who are using our Personal Property Securities Register due diligence system, which is part of the overall package, have told me that less than 10% of small medium enterprises have got any idea what this legislation is all about, and very few have got a detailed understanding of how the legislation works. And the first thing to remember is personal property is all forms of property other than real estate. It covers a wide range of business transactions. I honestly believe that small medium enterprises need internal systems that only accountants can deliver to ensure that they survive the impacts of this legislation. It doesn't seem fair to me or to a number of other people that a business can basically lose assets because they were ignorant of the necessity to register that asset on a government register. But that's the implication of this legislation. Cost control, huge problem. Your firm could be the cost consultant for your clients to look at budgets and cost control mechanism, obtaining quotations. We believe that ESS BIZTOOLS has developed a range of products which will assist you to meet these challenges in 2015 and to be able to develop the systems to assist your clients to survive. So the introduction to business advisory services, those 12 modules cover all of the internal workings within a firm to reach this decision that this is an important aspect of what you should be doing. Our suggestion is that the partners and managers and any other key accountants or marketing people that you have should meet once a week for 1 to 2 hours for 3 months to work your way through the 12 modules so that you adequately prepare yourself. And in so doing, you will be nominating product champions, industry champions, probably a facilitator to make sure that the necessary foundation work is undertaken to create an outstanding new product team within your business. So all the materials there, it's all pre-prepared, ready for you to use. We then have the modules to assist you to deliver these products and earn revenue. So the system includes health checks, valuation workshops, systems for budgets and cash flow forecasts, chief financial officer services, cash flow management, business planning, succession planning, the personal property securities register that I referred to earlier. We're going to have a look at a Business Plus newsletter shortly, but it's a newsletter that you could brand and send to your clients. Most of the articles are targeted at small, medium enterprises. From a business point of view, there's very few taxation articles because our research into small business has told us that they're not that interested in receiving taxation articles from their accountants. They believe you should be reading those. I know that they've got to be kept informed of some aspects of taxation, but we're trying to look at more general business matters. And you can add or delete material if you wish. Client mentoring and coaching, there's 13 pre-prepared modules. They're designed for you to mail or email a series, preferably weekly, to the client. Each series has an explanation letter and a survey form, and our suggestion is you have someone in your team contact the client after 4 or 5 days to see if they've got any queries on the matter you've sent to them. Because unashamedly what we're trying to help you achieve here is that you're going to get feedback from your client on the type of services that they want you to supply to them. Leadership, there's 9 modules, and they've been written so that you can deliver leadership training to your clients. But first of all, you might consider undertaking the leadership training in-house for your own team, especially as part of the planning to offer business advisory services. Client seminars, 35 seminars ready to go. You can use them as webinars. They contain all the organisational material that you need. All you need to do is to pre-read the material. And the ESS papers I've talked about before. ESS Biz Grants is a product on a separate website because it's configured completely differently. But basically you enter the profile of your client so that the system can then determine the type of grants that that client might be eligible for. There's about $5 billion worth of government grants and incentives made available each year in Australia by the federal, state and territory governments. Are your clients receiving a fair share of those grants? Another great benefit out of grants is that a lot of the work that the government's going to pay 50% of can be undertaken by accountants who are interested in offering business advisory services. There's a quick summary of your investment. We'll show you the subscription page later on, which has got the full breakdown, but you can pay in 12 monthly installments if you wish, or a discounted upfront payment. And the prices there are all plus GST. And we have different product options available for you. Gold covers everything that I'm going to talk to you about today, including the subscription to ESS Biz Grants and including a license that a gold subscriber can reproduce the ESS BIZTOOLS papers in a secure section of their website, available for clients and prospects who have been given access to a secure section of the website. Silver doesn't include Biz Grants and doesn't include the license to reproduce the papers, but basically includes everything else. Bronze is a package for smaller practitioners. It contains about 30% of the overall material within ESS BIZTOOLS and doesn't include any publishing rights. There's a testimonial that we received from a new subscriber recently. I probably should have reworded that. We received from a subscriber, but obviously they've been a subscriber for 2 years. But they sent that testimonial into us recently. And we believe that their comments there sum up what we're trying to achieve within ESS BIZTOOLS. We see ourselves as being an organisation that is providing product material for accountants all around Australia and New Zealand to use. So I'm just now going to go on to the website. And we'll go in first of all to business advisory services. We do produce articles that some of you may have seen each week, which we call Accountant's Minute. And I thought I'd share with you a recent article. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you, because I think it's appropriate in this type of webinar today. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. This is a sign that recently appeared on the wall of the gymnasium, which I'm a member. I first thought the manager was probably having a go at me because I'm slightly overweight. Some people might say more than slightly. However, the more I thought about it, it's obvious that the sign is a challenge to all people who visit the gym. Then I thought about the accountancy profession. We're indeed living in times that are continually challenging us. Small business reduction, $500 million red tape reduction announced by the Australian Taxation Office is targeted at accountants. And digital disruption that I mentioned before. The tax return market is under continuous pressure. tax returns are becoming more of a commodity product. And in survey after survey, SMEs are saying they want a wider range of services. These are some of the challenges facing accountants in 2015. So what we have now on the screen is the training modules prepared for delivery. So you can see the names there, introduction, getting organised, offering, business advisory. They're the basic preparation areas. Team training, which assists in training people, leadership strategies, marketing. So I'm going to just open one of these up so you get a better idea of what's involved. So we'll go to getting organised, and we have a complete summary then of the material that's within that module. So I'm going to download that. Because this is what you'd be doing within your own organisation. You'd be downloading pardon me, and saving it. The internet's a bit slow today, I'm afraid. Okay, what we have first of all is the procedure control form, which is the form which will help us to work our way through and decide what paper or form you're going to use. We've introduced these procedure control forms to guide people through the process. Some of these you won't need to read all the time, but it gives you an idea of what's in the system. So we're just going to download that, and we want to have a look at a form here which relates to the balance scorecard. So there's a questionnaire there which we've produced that you could utilize to get feedback from your team as to what they think of the firm at present, what they think about your preparedness to offer a wider range of services. That form goes on for a bit because there's a number of questions. Within the procedure control form, you might want to look at the question on sustainable competitive advantage, so you can see that. Obviously you can enlarge this if you want to. I'm going to bring up the sustainable competitive advantage form. So it's a matter then of bringing up the forms and then going through with them and using them to assist you to get yourself prepared. The next area I'm going to move into is the product module. So on the screen now you have the product modules, debtors system, debtors management, business evaluation, budgets and cash flow forecasts, cash flow, succession planning, chief financial officer services, strategic business mentoring, business planning, buying a business, selling a business, identifying grants, the personal property securities register, business health checks for a number of industries. The one I want to show you today is the Chief Financial Officer Services. So we'll just have a look at that. I'm not going to download into the hard drive. It just takes a little while. It takes too long. But we'll just pick out a couple of the items. So there is a procedure control form for each of these products, which will assist you to have a good look at the process for a product. It's broken into 4 main areas: the quotation and proposal, the preamble, that's after you receive the pardon me, the client's acceptance, pardon me, briefing material that you recommend that the client reads, and then the checklist for actually doing the job. So that's fairly similar to each of these modules. So there's papers there that you can click onto, and there's forms that you can utilize. So we're just going to go through here, and it's probably just as easy that I just go through and pick out some of these. So the first form there is a summary of Chief Financial Officer Services. So the concept is you sat down and talked to your client, and you've analysed the type of services that you might be able to provide to them. Here's a checklist that you might like to use to guide you through that process. The client might want some of these and might not want some of them, might have some others to be added to the list. But there's at least a guidance there to take you through the process. Another one that I just wanted to show you, we have a suggested gold package that you could sit down and talk to your client. This is a bundled services, so you'd enter into an agreement to provide a range of services, and then you determine a fixed fee, and the system has a suggested letter agreement that you could utilize to send to your clients. Another one that I want to show you is the cash flow cycle. Document. Here's just a simple chart that you can adapt to discuss with your client what their lockup is from after they've paid for the stock, and then the debtors process, of course, to give them an idea of what's happening in their business. Have they got a lockup of 180 days, or is it 270 days? And what might they be able to do to reduce that, because that's where a lot of your clients will have considerable sums of money tied up. We have forms which assist in establishing sales targets, and a whole range of others. So this form requires an analysis of your present customer sales statistics, and then trying to determine what might be able to be changed, whether it's number of customers, gross profit percentages, and that's a reactive form that you can then utilize to do some what-if type calculations for a client. Now there's a lot of other material within the Chief Financial Officer's services as I'm showing you on the screen at present. Calculations of trades, charge out rates, debtors days outstanding calculation, stock matrix, fee setting for professional practices, a whole range of forms and notes that we believe will assist an accountancy firm to enter into an agreement to offer Chief Financial Officer's services to a client. I'm going to move on now to the Personal Property Securities Registers, just to give you a quick overview of what's included in that area. We won't go into the procedure control form, but it does the same thing as what we've been doing in the others. One of the key and there's a whole range of documents here, as you can see, but one of the key documents is the Personal Property Securities Register Identification of Assets document. We've run a number of webinars on this whole area. Some of them have been record numbers for us, hundreds of firms participating. What this form is prepared for is to assist you to undertake a review of your client's position at a particular date. What you're really interested in is where stock was that was in these sort of categories: leased premises, someone else's property, or out on consignment. You're not really worried if it's on your own premises, but for the sake of completeness, we have inserted that column because hopefully that's where most of the stock will be, and if that's the case, that client's got no worry in that area. But a lot of people have got stock on consignment, they've got stock in warehouses that they don't own, and it's a potential problem if there is an insolvency event from the person that actually owns that property. So these forms have been prepared to take you through every conceivable asset that we can think of that we have determined could be caught under this legislation. Livestock on adjustment, thoroughbred horses, mainly because there's been an infamous case in New Zealand where a $2 million racehorse at stud was lost by the owners to the liquidator. Wasn't the owner's business that got into financial difficulty, it was the stud owners. I still have difficulty working out how this legislation really works. I know it works well for car sales, but it's got a lot of problems for the rest of the business community. We've got artist works, because they can be caught up in this legislation, plant and equipment, and so it goes on. So there's a whole range of activities within this Personal Property Securities Register. There's a full due diligence system. This is one of the key forms, which is allowing you to conduct a review to find out where everything was at a particular date, and then review the system. We've got suggestions on that so that the client can introduce a proper system. Don't forget, if you have any questions, can you please type them in webinar jargon, raise your hand, and I'll answer them a little bit later on. I'm now going to move on into the client mentoring and coaching area so that you can get an idea of how that works. Client mentoring and coaching includes material which you can send to your clients to better educate them on the type of services that you're able to provide. One of the services you might think about is benchmarking. There's some excellent benchmarking material produced by benchmarking.com, which was previously FMRC benchmarking. This allows you to review your client's performance against industry averages that benchmarking.com has established. So it's a great way to assist a client to understand what is best practice, or what is a reasonable gross profit percentage, or what is the average sales per employee or sales per square metre in a business. What we have on the screen at present is the client mentoring and coaching modules. So there's 12 of them, which cover a reasonable array of activities that could apply to your clients. If we have a look at purchasing or commencing a business, there are 6 series to be sent to the client, and we'll just have a so within a series there's a letter that can go to the client advising them that you're sending some material to them. Now you can charge for this if you wish, some firms do, or you can use it as a public relations marketing exercise, because it's a way that you can be conveying to your SME clients the type of services other than taxation that you provide. So there's the letter. You can edit that. You can do it on, place it on your letterhead if you wish, or you can write your own letter, but it's a attempt to assist you. There's also a survey form which accompanies each series letter. You would badge this with your logo and your name and address up there at the top, so that it looks official when it arrives at your client. And what the survey form is asking is for your clients to go through and indicate what they thought of the material that was sent and how beneficial it was to them. And it's a way of you getting some feedback. And our recommendation is that after 4 or 5 days someone should ring the client and inquire as to whether they have any questions to the material, because unashamedly we're hopeful that this material is going to help you to deliver additional services to your clients. And I've moved on now to one of the papers. So the papers that are referred to in this module are all within the package of the module, so there's no chance of the wrong material being sent. So this is the paper on characteristics of a well-run business. What I forgot to mention then is that you would place your logo and your username on the top of the article, so on the page, so the client would know who they're getting this from. And then there's the article which they can then read, and this one's a basic introductory type article, but at least it tells the client something about small business. And then you've got the next one, pitfalls in starting a business and so on. So that's how the material within client mentoring and coaching works. And you can see the other items there, which we got material for introductory management, experience management, dealing with banks, business planning, corporate governance, periodic financial accounts, networks, exporting, marketing, family businesses, and getting investment ready, being able to assist a client to raise money from a business angel or a venture capitalist. The next area we're going to move to is Business Plus newsletter. The newsletters are produced, as I said earlier, and uploaded to our website on the second Friday of a month. During a year we have 13 editions. There's no edition in January, but in May there's 2 extra editions. The first one is on the federal budget as it affects small business. Might be an interesting one this year. Wasn't much in last year's. And later in the month we have a special Business Plus on the end-of-year tax planning issues for the 2015 fiscal year. We try to get that out at the end of the third week of May, so it gives our subscribers plenty of opportunity to circulate that to their clients as part of the process of encouraging them to start thinking about end of financial year matters. So this is the newsletter which was distributed for March. We've been producing these now for over 7 years, and obviously there's been some changes over the time. It has a area there which we suggest you delete before you send this to your clients, and place your own logo and firm name, etc. in that space. You can edit the material if you wish, but that's up to you. Our surveys tell us there's not much editing happens. We always have an editorial article. Economic picture is mixed across Australia. Low interest rates, which obviously continued yesterday. Developing succession plan strategies. Someone has just sent an email in. Thanks, Elizabeth. Can we publish these articles on our website? Yes, the Business Plus you can. Some of our subscribers do that already. We want you to use this to promote your accountancy business. Developing a succession plan strategy. Very important. And you'll notice in most of these articles they finish with this call to action. If you would like to have a discussion relative, in this case, development of a succession plan, please don't hesitate the accountant with whom you normally have dealings. So that's going out. If you wanted to edit that, you can put your individual names in there if you wished to personalize it more. Rejuvenating a business. This has come about because I've had a bit to do with Michael Rich, who's the CEO of Attaché Software, and Michael's part of a small group that's been formed to try to rejuvenate Australian business. They're very concerned that there's very little commerce being undertaken by businesses with turnovers in excess of $10 million in Australia or New Zealand. And you can see from the figures we've got there, there's only 10,000 businesses in Australia that produce over $10 million and 2,000 that produce over $20 million in sales. And then we've added to it a few other ideas which we've come up with as some of the things that you might want to do to start rejuvenating your clients' businesses. And obviously this is going to your clients, so hopefully they'll come back and talk to you about those ideas. Culture is very important, so we've run an article there on culture building is important for success. How well do you know your business? I think it's a good idea for people every so often to sit down and really look at their customers, their marketing, team members. Government grants. Some of you might have picked up that those figures in there obviously changed. The Senate didn't approve the government's proposed changes to the research and development rebate. So the figures have gone back to 45% applicable from the 1st of July 14, and for turnovers of over 20 million to 40%, and we have that correction in our newsletter which we're releasing on Friday. So things change. The Senate's making life very difficult to report on some of these things. We've got an article there on the 5S system because we believe it's very important that businesses should be looking at these things. Admittedly, this is mainly in the manufacturing trade areas, but there's a lot of very good stuff in the Kaizen system literature, which is obviously where 5S come from, that applies to all sorts of businesses. In fact, recently I was told by CEO of an American-Japanese company that specializes in the Kaizen concept, that some of their biggest clients in America using the Kaizen system are now medical practices, hospitals. So it's interesting. Shrinkage. I've done some work in a retail environment of recent times, and it highlighted to me once again the need for shrinkage control. The management team there had very little idea of what was happening in the shrinkage area. They could have had 6 or 7% shrinkage occurring without really knowing about it, and they probably did. So I thought it was an opportune time to go back and write some material on shrinkage. It's very important, and as accountants, this is the sort of stuff that you can get your teeth really into with your clients. And someone rang me recently and said one of their clients had been talking to a competitor and thought it was a big no-no. And my response to that is, I don't think it is, as long as they're not talking about prices for particular customers. By all means, people should be talking to competitors, I believe. That's one of the key reasons for benchmarking. And in fact, I think one of the great services you can do is to organize your own benchmarking groups for some of the industries within your area. There are some accountancy firms do that very successfully around Australia. Boyce & Co. have been doing it for years in the fine wool industry, cotton industries, beef cattle industries. Why can't other firms do the same thing? So that's the newsletter that is available. There are past editions available on the website, and if you want to go back for the full 7 years to see any of them, you would just have to contact us and we would let you know. So that's the overview of the system. I'm just going to move back to a couple of other areas to show you. We just want to show you the blog area. This is where our regular articles are available. They're available to a visitor to our site if you're interested in having a look. Each week we produce Accountants Minute articles. They're placed as blog articles on this site and also distributed through social media. We believe that each of these articles relates to work that accountants can perform as far as offering a wider range of services to your clients. And I'm just looking now for the last area I wanted to take you through to today, and that is the pricing. If you visit our site and you want a comparison as to what's in the gold package, silver package, bronze, business plus only, and what you're going to get when you log on for a guest package, that's summarized here. You can apply for a 30-day guest login, and you'll be able to access some of our material and print it and keep it for yourselves if you wish. But that's a full summary of what's in the various packages together with the pricing structure. I don't seem to have any other questions, and our time is basically up. Thank you very much for participating in this webinar today. As I said before, we have taped the webinar. We will be sending you details of the YouTube link to view the tape recording in the next couple of days. If you have any questions at all about any aspect of ESS BIZTOOLS, please don't hesitate to contact us. And we most certainly would welcome each and every one of you participating in this webinar today as a subscriber to ESS BIZTOOLS, because we believe that this would genuinely assist you to deliver a wider range of services to your small, medium enterprise clients. And if I can finish from the accountant's minute that I produced on, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. To navigate these challenges, accountants will have to change their traditional work and delivery models, just as accountants have been doing virtually every decade for the last 50 years. Thank you for participating today. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.